Hi, and welcome to the Iceland Roundup, the podcast where we discuss the week's news. With me today, again, are Aðalsteinn Kjartansson from Heimildin, or The Source.
The Source, yeah.
And author and musician Sindri Eldon, a longtime friend and contributor to the Reykjavík Grapevine.
Hello.
Hey. So, where do you guys want to start this week? Should we start with Tasers?
Update about the cat. I met the cat.
You met the cat?
Yeah, yesterday.
That's delightful.
Yes.
Did you go to Skeivan again?
Yeah, I went to Skeivan. It was amazing, like always in Skeivan. Went to the stationery store, A4.
Yeah.
And
A mind-blowing experience, as always, I'm sure.
I mean, meeting the cat again after this traumatic experience he went through.
Yeah. You felt like you knew him a bit better, like it was like an old friend.
Yeah, it was just a relief, like, to see him.
Did he seem traumatized?
He was really relaxed.
Of course he was.
There's always something very satisfying, isn't there, about seeing that something you read in the news is true. It's just like, or maybe none of it ever happened. Maybe he never left.
No, he left.
Oh.
I like so
I
A4
didn't meet him
the
for a week.
Oh, okay.
A4 the store where
You go there a lot.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you live there. That's right. Yeah.
I love Skeivan.
Yeah.
A4 where the cat lives in Skeivan. I remember, I think it was just before 2008, but just before the economic collapse.
Yeah.
There was I was listening to the radio news in the car, and it was announced that somebody had been arrested in A4. He was high on shrooms and had no idea where he was.
Yes.
And he had been arrested at 4 in the morning.
I mean, A4 was open 24/7.
And that's what I took out of it. I was like, what? Is that place open at night?
Yeah,
Why?
exactly. What was not in that story is the shrooms that the person was on that decided a stationery store would be open all the way through the night.
Yeah.
Was that the same person who was on shrooms? Was that the person who made the decision? He's like, wow, I'd really love to wander around a stationery store high out of my mind.
I think
And no one can throw me out because
I
I own the place.
I think unfortunately the person who was delusional enough to make that decision was not on shrooms. Which is the worst.
I mean, it worked. It was like open 24/7 for years, and now they're open until like 10 in the evening.
I never like
That makes sense. I mean, when you need like a paperclip, you really fucking need one.
I mean, the thing.
No substitutes.
I mean, like the kids are asleep. You go to the stationery store, get what you need. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes
there's.
sense.
I guess with 24-hour stores, there are things that one wants in the middle of the night, like candy,
yeah,
beer if you could get it, but it's not possible here.
no.
Ice cream, just like things that are not good for you.
You have a number of a bjórsali, right?
Yeah, you can always call a guy, I guess, and
Yes.
get it delivered to your home if you
Those
want
are
some
so
beer.
expensive.
But
See,
like,
this is something that kind of gets left out of the whole should we sell alcohol in stores is like, I don't care who sells me the alcohol. I just want them to be open on a Sunday. Like, I don't care if it's the state or, you know.
You can always
some
go
dudes.
to church on Sundays.
Yes, I know.
you can get the wine. No, but I've never had the urge to buy a stapler at 3 o'clock.
Then you
Right.
haven't lived. You know.
I guess not. Although I've never felt the urge to buy like a piece of ham or a suit in the middle of the night. But you can do that too here.
Yeah, this is true.
You go to Hakup, get a leg of lamb, a new suit, shoes. and you're good.
The only times I go to Hakup is like late in the evening or in the night.
To go to Nammibarinn?
Yeah, Nammibarinn and just like do some shopping.
Should probably explain what Nammibarinn is here.
The candy bar.
Yeah, the candy bar, the mixed candy bar, very Scandinavian. But all right.
Do they not have those in America?
Do they? I have no idea.
You know what they don't have in America is the A4, the paper size. They don't know what the fuck that is. I tried to explain. I went there looking for pieces of paper. They don't know what that is. They're like, "Oh, you mean like an 11-inch or something?"
11 inch.
Well, I can't even remember the
That's
inches.
like huge.
And I was just
paper.
like, I'd have to measure, you know. But yeah, they don't have these paper sizes there.
No, I mean, aren't they the if you look at a Wikipedia page for which countries still use the imperial measurement system,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it them and Myanmar or something?
Yeah.
But
That's about it?
but
basically.
doesn't Britain use A4 and A3 and A2?
The UK
They
has
have the
basically
imperial system.
the UK has basically kind of adapted the metric system also, hasn't it? To an extent.
Yeah, in large part, I think.
Although they were like in the 90s, they were still using, or was it the 80s, they were still using like, they were like 120 whatever in a pound.
Oh, the fucking guineas and the
Yeah,
shillings and
something
shit.
like-
yeah,
something-
I think that didn't end until like the 80s. That's crazy.
Something like of Chaldean, Babylonian.
Yes, that'll be 3
vintage.
bob and 2 sheep.
Yeah. Like
Tom,
something that's so
mate.
ancient that makes
Yeah.
no sense. Well, to the news.
Yeah.
Where do you guys want to start this
Oh
week?
God.
Wow.
Tasers,
You want to start with the taser?
tasers, green wall.
Yeah, tasers.
All
I
right.
think, that's
That's like new.
that
news.
is new news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
hard
first-
hitting.
Yeah.
We can.
Electrifying news.
Yeah, we can
It's a
give.
shocker.
We can, get the word out on the uninformed takes before they start rolling in from, less fast podcasters.
Yes.
So the first instance of the police using a taser on a subject,
Yes.
I guess, happened this week. There was a massive, there was quite a bit of a debate on whether or not the police should be allowed to have tasers to begin with, whether or not it was necessary.
I'm sorry you say subject like they've already used it on their superiors. We've never actually used it on someone who's beneath us, but oh yeah, we've shot our boss with it many, many times. He loves it.
I wonder, like, on a side note, I wonder if there's like a ritual when you, because I always bring up the fact that I've done a summer job as a police officer. I always find ways. This is definitely
Tell
a way
us
to do it,
again,
yeah.
Junti.
So the first day I was a substitute police officer in the Westfjords. They didn't tase me. They didn't have any tasers. They didn't shoot me. They pepper sprayed me.
Yes. That's like a thing.
Because the doctrine is, like, if you're going to be using it, you should know how it feels. Which I kind of agree with. And it hurt like hell, and I never used the pepper spray during my 3-month tenure as a substitute whatever.
In the Westfjords.
In the
Yeah.
Westfjords. I wonder if somebody got tased, if that's the thing, if they tase each other before using it.
No.
I think they should.
Maybe they should, but they don't. But I remember because now the police academy is a part of the University of Akureyri, where I studied media and communications, as we were discussing before we hit record.
Akureyri,
I don't want to talk about the schools I've been to, so you guys go ahead.
Akureyri, the second town of Reykjavík
Yes.
in North Iceland.
Yes, and I remember when they were like using pepper spray on each other, like during school. It's like it wasn't the first day of their new job as police officer. It was while they're still in the academy.
So it's a part of their
The
Training,
hazing ritual.
No, it's just in class.
Ah.
ouch.
I think
Yeah?
maybe it was voluntary. I don't know.
Maybe it was
Were they thinking they would develop an immunity? They would like pepper spray each other a little bit every day until you feel nothing?
I mean that. Yeah, sounds.
That sounds
They're just
more like
breeding a whole new class of Icelander up there, aren't they?
It sounds,
Akureyri.
Yeah.
sounds like much more like an ongoing medical experiment
Yes.
rather than a
An
class
Akureyringur will no longer means a hamburger with the fries inside. It means like someone who can resist pepper spray indefinitely.
to
Yeah.
pepper.
I hope
They put
Yeah.
pepper spray on the burgers now. That's what an Akureyringur is.
So every
Yeah.
time like more than 3,000 people from Akureyri go to Reykjavík, the government falls.
It
I'll
can't
take
be pepper sprayed. It does nothing.
You can't barricade the...
We need bomb.
No, but I mean, it's a bit of a moment here because they're arming the police has not been something that has happened sort of without at least protest here. They're like a few years ago, the police would started to have guns in their cars, I think.
Yeah, in some cars.
In some cars, and then there was a pretty big bust up a few years ago when the then Minister of Justice wanted to import some light machine guns from Norway, which didn't work out.
Yeah, they were probably too expensive if they were Norwegian.
Maybe.
I think it was like discarded guns from the Norwegian like, security
It's
forces.
the guns they didn't even want.
Yeah.
leftovers from
yeah.
Norway, which is, I guess, a good name for Iceland in many ways.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's
Sorry.
a not so subtle metaphor.
No, but I mean, it's a bit of a watershed moment that this has happened. I mean, we don't really know any details, but I mean, what the police said about it or what they issued was something that all other measures had been exhausted, and this was the only thing they could do.
Yeah.
Which,
And the news media, they picked it up, and like the police had to use
the taser.
Right. And we have absolutely no idea about like
circumstances or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've gotten away with it. The police has not used tasers for quite a long time.
For decades.
For decades, you could say. And somehow never run into a situation where they couldn't have done without the taser.
But there's like this one example of the police shooting and killing a subject.
Yeah, this is not too long ago, I guess. It's
a few years ago.
Yeah. The hostage taker in, what was it, Breiðholt? Árbær?
Hraunbær, yeah, in Árbær.
In the suburb of Reykjavík. Yeah, he had a gun inside his apartment and was shooting.
He didn't have hostages. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
At cars in the parking lot or something.
Yeah, I think.
Could he have been tased? I mean, from what I understand, it's kind of a short-range weapon.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, you have had, shootouts, or not shootouts, but somebody with a rifle shooting at random, usually in a deranged state, has happened quite often in Iceland. It often happens also in the countryside, because there is an abundance of hunting weapons available in Iceland.
There are a lot of
not to mention abundances of alcohol and boredom and
that
and untreated mental illness.
Yeah. So often that's been dealt with by simply waiting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just wait for that person to exhaust himself.
Yeah.
And then mission accomplished. There's no need to shoot the subject. You can evacuate the area. Anyway, we're getting into maybe.
So where he was tased on like Hringbraut? Is that right?
Yeah, somewhere
centrally located. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't really just like wait for him to simmer down. Like if he's.
No, but we definitely need more information to like be able to have any meaningful discussion about the use of this like new weapon.
But I'm glad that Morgunblaðið doesn't need any information to make moral judgments about the necessity.
No, they just stated that the police needed to do this.
Yes, given, I guess they have a source. No, they don't.
I don't know.
No, probably not.
I mean, their source is the cops, I'm assuming, right?
Or they just didn't, or maybe they didn't call anybody and just decided this was great news that somebody had been tased, and it probably would be necessary because you can trust everything that everybody tells you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The person tased was actually a Morgunblaðið reporter, and it's like, I deserved it. Yeah.
Right.
I doubt that, but yeah. Okay.
I mean, then, yeah, no. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Next subject.
Well, do you want to talk about soaring energy prices?
Wow, yeah. Please, let's talk about it.
Well,
let's use up some electrical power talking about the soaring energy prices.
It's quite cheap, though.
I think it's probably not wrong if I would say that we have the cheapest electricity in Europe.
And also because we pay like the electricity bill is like separate from like distribution and the actual electricity, and I think it's just the actual electricity that's seeing these price increases.
Yeah.
And I pay like a few thousand kroner a year for electricity, and even if it doubles, it's not gonna change anything for me.
For foreign context, that's like $20.
Yeah, I mean it's what can you get for $20 and how
anything you want, baby.
And how much is it if it's 24? I mean that's basically the increase. We're talking about 30, 40% in the most extreme cases.
You can power all manner of devices with $24 in this country.
I mean, it's like there are areas of the country where electricity isn't cheap. In these like cold areas where you use electricity to like warm up your houses. And,
yes,
like in the Westfjords. You know about the Westfjords, Jonti. You used to be a police officer there.
Wait, did I mention that?
Not for the last 10 minutes, no.
Well, I mean...
but the infrastructure out in the countryside does, on a semi-regular basis, fail as well, which is kind of scary. So they're paying more and it's less reliable. And if you lose power out there, I mean, like... Didn't something happen recently with, was it Víkin Mýrdal or something? that lost? They were off the grid or something?
It happens sometimes when you have these massive storms that the power lines go out for a while between areas of the country.
Yeah.
There was obviously the latest sort of massive loss of energy was when the eruption before the last one destroyed the power line to Suðurnes, the southwest peninsula where Keflavík Airport is located. So they were out of power for a few days and had some, they were out of hot water.
Yeah, out of hot water.
Out of hot water, I'm sorry. And
the lava like destroyed
the pipe.
Yeah.
Right.
But then
it happened in Dalvík, which is in the north of Iceland.
Yeah.
Then the Coast Guard went with their like
massive diesel engine and plugged in.
Yeah,
the
they
town.
just like sailed their huge ship over to Dalvík and like powered the entire town from its engines.
But it's an interesting dichotomy, isn't it? And I think it says a lot about Iceland that we have these very like low energy prices and sort of these high-tech sources for electrical power, like hydroelectric and whatnot. But at the same time, we also have these like, extreme conditions and like, where infrastructure can be severed. And yeah, we have to run a whole town on a diesel engine until, things can be fixed.
It's also like in these areas which do not have hot water, some of them. There are not very many. I mean, I think it's counted in percentages, the households in Iceland that are
there are very
exclusively.
few. Yeah.
So there, of course, as you were mentioning, a 20, 30, 40% increase can actually matter because you're also heating the house, which most of us don't. We use hot water for that. But then we've also learned via the experience with the volcano is that those places whose energy infrastructure is not designed for anything but the W's, where like light is electricity and hot.
Do you want to switch it up?
Yeah.
Use hot
warmth
water
is
for
hot
the
water.
light.
Blah. Then you can't run when you lose the hot water. The grid can't handle heating up your house too.
I've tried many times to run my computer on hot water, and it doesn't work.
Seems like we should have figured that one out.
Yeah, if anything, if Iceland will be known for any remarkable invention, I think it'll be the.
Do you just plug it into the kettle?
Just drop it in the bathtub. It runs on any water.
But I think what this sort of, but it's kind of been like, Iceland is rough in terms of weather. It's remote.
Is it though?
Mildly. I mean, it's not as remote as it used to be, obviously. But it's
I mean,
still 3-4 hours from the next
From
place.
Scotland.
From Scotland or something. You want to go? No, anyway.
2 hours.
Does
from
Greenland just
Faroe
not
Islands.
count?
Greenland?
Yeah.
You want
course.
to go more?
Yeah, I
More-
mean, it sort of
more
depends on
extreme.
what you mean by, extreme and remote.
Okay, let's not talk. Okay, I'll not pursue that part of the argument.
No, but
it's
I see
pretty
what you're
cold,
saying, yeah.
And the weather's pretty nasty sometimes. And
And I feel like our houses as well have sort of been designed assuming like an indefinite abundance of hot water to heat them. Like we have these huge windows and just like the way that they're insulated. Like my grandpa's a mason and he was telling me about it, that just like, and because Reykjavík is growing so fast that, we've been having all these like distribution issues with hot water, that the power company is, is barely able to keep up with it. And it's, you have to sort of wonder if it's going to force Icelandic, architects to start sort of rethinking our houses.
yeah, because I think I was thinking when I moved back from Scandinavia after having lived there for a few years, I thought, okay, I'm back. The weather is going to be worse, but at least I can like pump the heat up in my house and open the windows like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
Amazing.
but now you actually have like, first of all, the electricity is a little more expensive, but also we've had hot water shortages in the most coldest days.
Yeah, for the swimming pools.
For the swimming pools, but it's
Yeah.
still like it's that
It's
one
like few
thing
days last winter that we couldn't go into the swimming pool.
It sounds so fucking dilettante. It sounds so spoiled. It's just like, ooh, we couldn't have our swimming pools. But until you've like lived several winters here, you don't understand how essential these pools are. Like especially if you have like a kid, where like for months and months there is nothing to do.
And just like in my house when I like bought the apartment I live in now, I have 4 kids, and it's like it was the most important part that we have this bathtub.
Yeah.
So we can just like fill it with like 100 liters of hot water for one kid, and then we just like switch it up. So we use like 400, 500 liters of water just to keep them busy, because we don't want to go out in this terrible weather or something like that. And when we are bored with a bathtub, we go to the swimming pools, which is a gigantic bathtub with a lot more of hot water.
Costs more, but we'll keep your child engaged for
proportionally
a longer amount of time.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to get some blowback after this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying
from who? About what?
I'm trying to whine about this, and you're rightly pointing out that it's...
No, I mean, of course, it's like a huge difference that the power company says, like, we can't heat the pools. I mean,
it's a new one.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
No one has, like... I don't think anyone in Iceland had the imagination that we would run out of hot water in any...
in any scenario,
no, it's absurd. Yeah.
I never saw that coming. I always thought like that. We still have this.
Yeah.
Like it may be, we have problems, blah blah blah. I'm gonna whine and bitch about it, but I have this, so I'm happy.
This, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because of just the conditions, like the natural conditions that we live with, there are just certain essentials that we can't really have a functioning civilization without.
I mean, what's next? The sidewalk is not going to be heated outside my house.
I got a bone to pick with that, because like I think if they took all the money that the state uses and the cities use to like scrape the ice and snow off our sidewalks throughout the winter and just set that money aside and then heated all the sidewalks. Like, I wonder how fast they would make that amount of money and never have to scrape them again.
Well, what they have done, though, is to, like, they double win this one. They don't put any heat in the sidewalks, and then they don't scrape them either.
No.
Yeah.
So I guess they're not losing any money on that one.
No.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
It's a win.
So it's like, if you're not going to...
people stay in their house and like use the bath.
Yeah, and they use their electricity and their hot water, and they never have to leave the house.
Try it.
I mean, this is like
try like getting to the pool with a stroller on a snowy day.
Yeah. With all that said, how is like food delivery culture still so primitive in this country? It's so ridiculously expensive, and it's so bad. Like the quality of service. I mean, I guess it's just like every service in Iceland, isn't it? It's just supply and demand. You pay a lot for
service we are providing our listeners is quite good now.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we should go to the next subject.
Yes.
Which will kind of like this one have something to do with housing, and you can pick. We have a few bones to pick, so to speak. So we can either talk about the fact that it was announced that there are 10,000 empty apartments in the whole island.
Yeah, in the worst housing crisis there's ever been in Iceland, we find out that there are 10,000 empty apartments
and
in the
I mean,
country.
I don't know how you... like. So we have about 400,000 people. If we were to say that there are about... I mean, it's probably wrong, but 4 people per apartment, we would have about 100,000 apartments, which is probably not correct. It's probably more.
Yeah.
But then it's still like...
I don't think it's a stretch to say that these apartments could house like 10% of our population easily.
Easily.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's like somewhere between 5 and 10% of the whole. I mean, there are some explanations maybe that, some of these... So these are empty apartments. They're not on sale.
No,
they're
it's
just sitting
like,
there.
Yeah. Someone owns this.
Somebody owns them and does not care to sell them.
But are like Airbnbs included in this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But it also means that... But if you look at the numbers, though, many of these are located in places which have been having problems with maintaining the population for quite a few decades, like the Westfjords, who haven't exactly...
Have you any connections to the Westfjords?
Well, funny you should say that. So... I mean, some of these have to be accounted for the fact that nobody really wants to live in them because they're located in places nobody really wants to live in.
Yeah, some of them like function as like vacation.
Some of them vacation homes in places also where people are like, nobody's buying this. I mean, I met a person in a town that will not be named here this summer, who had bought 2 apartments in that town
Mhm.
for, I think, 8 million total.
You're talking about Fáskrúðsfjörður.
No,
No.
but you're getting warm. We're not gonna... Anyway, far away, not much happening.
Mhm.
At least there's a boon in that. You can get a pretty cheap apartment. But it goes to show that, you know, you have these towns out there which do not have very many...
But
do have a lot of, you know, empty apartments.
If we stay in Vestfirðir, because I visited Flateyri last winter and wrote an article about it, because 1/2 of all the houses are owned by people in Reykjavík.
Mhm.
And there is a shortage of apartments for people who actually want to live in Flateyri.
Mhm.
So these vacation homes, some of them, like in Fáskrúðsfjörður or Stöðvarfjörður, which are like getting empty.
Yeah, these are in the
maybe-
Eastwards, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's okay. But then you have these towns that there's like real housing shortage.
Yeah, and it's still empty. Yeah.
Yeah, I visited this guy who has lived in Flateyri for like decades.
Mhm.
He, during the winter time, he's the only one who lives in this particular street. All the other houses are like vacation homes from people in Reykjavík.
Yeah, I think...
We should tax this. No,
well, I think for international context, there are countries where you cannot, like in Western Europe, where you cannot just keep a house empty.
Mhm.
It is not illegal and it's dealt with in... I mean, there are different measures between countries, but they just don't stand empty. That is... The state has decided that's a self-defeating thing to be able to do for the state. We don't have anything like that here, and we obviously have instances of buildings downtown that have been just crumbling
Yeah.
since I moved here 20 years ago from the Westwards. No, can't remember anymore. That have just literally been crumbling deliberately.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sure, there are like some fines the city can, if they want to, put on the owners, but generally it's a very lax thing, and I guess it's lax because it probably wasn't that big of a problem before. But with a housing crisis and 10,000 empty apartments, quarter of which is in Reykjavík. Some of them are actually in Grindavík, and I don't think anybody's moving into those anytime soon.
You'd be surprised.
But depending the price, you might...
If the housing crisis stays the same, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So I guess this maybe calls for some changes in the laws to prevent stuff like this happening, or at least figuring out how you can sort of allow for some measures to be taken in places which are like Flateyri,
Mm-hmm.
having serious problems with housing.
Has the incoming, coalition government made any promises regarding the housing market? Like any specifics? I'm assuming they all said they were going to do something about it.
Yeah, the biggest party in that forming coalition, the Social Democratic Party, they talked about this empty house taxing, and also limiting your options to buy homes and rent them out on platforms like Airbnb.
Yeah, I think that's also something that some international listeners will find mildly unbelievable, is that we have no restrictions at all regarding that, almost.
We have some restrictions.
Very limited ones.
Yeah. But I can own 10 homes and rent them out.
Yeah, you can, and it doesn't really in some
I
cases...
can own 20 homes and rent them out.
True.
Yes.
But one of the more interesting aspects of that is that you can pretty much get a very, the loans you can get, because you don't have to, outright have the money for these.
Mm-hmm.
The loans are quite lax. You can get kind of nice loans on your fourth house that you buy to rent out, which seems kind of awkward.
Okay, I don't know how connected you are in the banking system. I couldn't get a nice loan for my
Well,
house.
when he was working as a substitute banker in Vestfirðir
No,
for one summer.
maybe I'm wrong here, but it seemed like the rates weren't that terrible, and you could get a pretty large portion of it on a loan.
Yeah, you definitely can. You don't have to have really large sum of money to be able to do this. And there are, I mean, it's unbelievable what kind of people are actually buying their third or fourth apartment to just like rent them out on Airbnb.
Yeah.
So maybe we have to limit the tourists coming here.
Maybe. Or maybe we just have to put some more laws in place for renting. I don't know. I mean,
It works in other countries.
yeah,
Does it though?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
No.
I don't know.
Okay. So the answer is no.
I was asking.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Our job
it's-
is to live here and,
Yeah.
and tell you about it. We don't really know
I
what
mean,
goes
go
on in
swimming
other
in the
countries.
pools.
Yeah.
I can tell you the
Like sometimes I like put the hot water on and just let it run for hours and hours.
Yeah.
No,
No, I've been in the pool all day.
do you do it?
Feel
sort
my
of-
skin.
Do you do it sort of actively, so you actually look at it, or you leave the?
I leave.
Okay.
And then I go driving in Skavan with my kids.
It makes the day more exciting.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to come home to exactly.
No. Anyway, other places have more ingenious laws regarding the
Yeah.
rental market, but
There are more things about the housing market that we could actually like try and learn from other countries, other
yes.
cities. Like, I mean, we're in front of this green wall. There's another green wall in Breiðholt, which is the neighborhood I grew up in. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
this
yeah.
gigantic back of a warehouse or I don't know. what
It
it's
is
called.
huge. Yeah, I mean, first of all, did you substitute police work in Breiðholt as a?
No, I just lived there
Oh, okay, just checking.
as a kid. But
Uh,
I go to school there in Breiðholt.
yeah, very good.
Thank you.
But yeah, a gigantic green wall in front of a lot of people's windows.
Yeah, it's like a
So this is-
7-story high building that they're like
Erecting.
erecting. Yes, it's like this steel beam, so it's like goes up really quickly, and all of a sudden people are just like walking to their balconies and are like, "Whoa, I can't see anything. I just see green."
Yeah, I think so. This is a zoning issue, and another news piece from this week, which is that in Breiðholt, I guess,
Yeah,
near Mjóddin, which is a part of Reykjavík.
yeah, and it's actually Suðurmjódd,
South Mjódd, south, not central. Sorry, Sindri.
The deep south.
The deep south.
Yeah.
So somehow, and we try to get into the details, it was the city allowed a contractor to build a gigantic warehouse, pretty much where a residential building had been built very recently, in a residential area where you wouldn't generally expect seeing a gigantic warehouse. And it is literally less than a stone's throw from the new residential building. It's like you can hit it with a heavy rock from your balcony, and it completely blocks the view. And it's, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to the person who came up with the design of this house, but
They're
it's
not
not
going to listen to
it's
this.
not
You can
exactly
say
a
whatever
thing
you want.
you enjoy looking at either.
No, I mean
It's
I don't know what the Union of Architects in Iceland, they put out a statement like
None of us built this.
came near designing this.
We're not going to say who it was, but we're going to tell you who it wasn't. Any of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like if you stand inside
Let the architects
some of
deny
these, if you stand inside some of these buildings and you're just like in the living room looking out the window, you actually don't see anything else than this green wall.
That is,
And there are no windows on it. It's just like a huge 7-story high green wall. And it goes like this apartment building that's next to it, which is actually in a residential like area, and just like across this little pathway, the industrial area begins. It's like amazing. Inventive zoning. And the
ingenuity.
the warehouse, it's like it starts in front of the building and it goes like 4 or 5 times the length of the apartment building behind it, and it's higher up in the air than the building, the apartment building. And it's like there are 4 or 5 apartments where you cannot see anything outside the window except the wall.
I see an opportunity here. You can paint the building, sort of pixelate it.
Yeah.
So when you look at the window, it feels like you're playing Minecraft.
I mean, I think you found the solution to this problem.
Oh, sorry.
Or we just rezone it all as residential and solve our housing crisis by moving, all of unhoused Iceland into this giant building.
But
nobody wants to claim it anymore.
Just bunk beds, 7-story high.
There aren't any windows on the...
Yeah, who needs windows when you have a computer?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
No, but it's...
If they have hot water and electricity, who needs a window?
It's a gigantic swimming pool.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Oh, yeah, you could put you would lose less heat if you actually built something on top of the swimming pool. That's part of the problem. We didn't go into that. They're all outdoors. But anyway, I mean, it is kind of astonishing that
just
this can actually
imagining the
happen.
smell of an indoor pool that big. You walk in the room.
Oh, rough.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
Yeah, you like indoor pool smell?
Yes.
It's an acquired taste, I guess.
Ugh.
Next topic.
Does anyone should we just dive directly into like a public service announcement to people who are not from here that they need to like wash their crotch properly before getting into the pool? No, so let's skip that one.
No, they have these posters in the pools that explain this.
Yeah, but people don't listen.
They're illustrated posters.
Yeah, they don't read either.
Oh, but that's what the pictures are for.
They don't look either.
What do they think the red clouds over the crotch are then? If it's not like you have to wash there, it
seems like you have to do a survey. I have no idea.
Yeah.
but don't you guys, when you go to the pool and you see like the tourists who are not washing, don't you like comment on it?
I think I'm getting to the age of where I'm gonna
like
be that guy.
10 years younger than you. I've been commenting on this for 10 years.
I'm getting there. But I have friends who are a wee bit older than me who went from not saying anything into like literally screaming at people on demand.
I mean,
basically.
It's disgusting when you see people go like from the changing rooms without showering to the pool.
Yeah, and they meet them
I
in
just
the hot
don't
tub
see it. I don't know where you barbarians are swimming,
I think I'm told Sundhöllin is pretty bad downtown, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, Sundhöllin is bad for a number of reasons, but yeah,
that's spoken like a true lifelong West town guy.
I fucking hate Vesturbælug too, man. Like, don't get me started. I live between I live by the worst pool in Reykjavík. It's really frustrating.
But what the thing is, like, this zoning disaster, like moving back into that green wall.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the illustration. Yeah.
Oh, the zones.
Yeah.
You have the washing zones.
The washing zones.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Erogenous zones. This is where to pet Icelandic people. They like their armpits touched.
Yeah, the zoning issue. Yo.
Back to zoning issues. Away from armpits, into zones.
Damn, okay.
Oh, shit, that sounded wrong.
I thought I had my moment.
I guess the original zoning plan for this area dates back to 2009, some 15 years ago. But at the end of this, it got built really quickly, and it seemed to have caught everybody by surprise, including the mayor and the politician of the majority in the municipality of the city, who is in charge of zoning. And I find that very sort of disconcerting. First of all, they shouldn't be surprised. But second of all, if they are surprised, that's even more worrying. Because that means that, especially for the person who is in charge of zoning, they maybe weren't really, what is the word for this? They weren't like reading or looking at what they were supposed to be processing in terms of zoning.
But it seems like, you're definitely correct. The person in charge of zoning should be able to read into the diagrams and the text describing this. I mean, I can't. I've gone through this all, and I mean, from reading that, I could not imagine that this green wall would be built. And it seems that a lot of people who are familiar with these zoning issues and how things are done, are also surprised. So, I mean,
have they somehow managed to create a process that is so complex that nobody understands the end result until somebody builds something on that plot? Is that a possibility?
It's always very hard for human beings to think in 3 dimensions as well. Like, you see these plans and you might look at them on a map, like from above, and it's just like, yeah, okay, this looks fine. Like, show me the next 500 things I have to look at. But you don't realize that it's going to, obstruct people's view to the degree that it will.
No, I mean, it's also like usually if some major changes are done to plans, if you are a resident in that area, you have the option of submitting like a complaint or something. It seems like nobody did, not even the contractor who built the house, the apartment housing. They seem to have just not realized this was happening either.
Yeah, back in 2009, this were like 3 or 4 different plots. So,
they were all
yeah,
okay.
and then they were like merged into this gigantic, like,
green wall.
Yeah.
One plot.
So one plot. And I mean, there are some like illustrations, 3D illustrations of the house available.
Really?
Yeah, but it doesn't show the other buildings around it, so you don't get the context.
They will, of course, be eliminated.
Yeah, it's like, it's strange, but yeah, I really don't understand how this happened.
I mean, it seems like somebody should at least learn a lesson from this. Hopefully.
Well,
no, it won't happen, obviously.
No, it won't
the
happen.
mayor sure likes to learn lessons about things, it seems, judging by his recent experience. But, maybe this
That was
is
cryptic, but okay.
I just feel like he made some mistakes, but,
right.
pledged to learn from his mistakes.
Well, I think, wasn't he calling school teachers lazy?
Yeah, he called school teachers lazy, and then he insulted the people of Grávur as well somehow. I think.
somehow.
But they are like really easily
insulted.
But he's the mayor. This is like between school teachers and the people of Grávur. This is like 50% of your constituency. This is like 50% of Reykjavík.
School teachers being like 40%.
This is what happens when you let people in journalism enter politics.
Yeah.
Let that be a warning to you. Also,
yeah, definitely.
But I guess
it's like no one wants me in politics.
No. Do you guys have any sort of final things to say about the fact that Christmas is coming up? By the way, we won't be putting out an episode in the next 2 weeks because of Christmas. We'll be...
Why?
You will not be able to stuff us into your stocking.
I'm
Sorry.
just going to be lying on the floor stuffed with ham. No,
I thought we were going to go into
I will be lying on a different floor, also stuffed with ham.
Going to the pool with the mics and doing a podcast in.
That would be actually...
Don't forget to leave your water running at home.
I think I would like to try that because we have a bunch of clip-on mics. It would be fun how
where are you gonna clip them on?
That's the fun part.
Yes.
And
so
your armpits and on your feet.
Well, I mean, whatever tickles your fancy.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's gonna be a zoning issue.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so yeah, there will be no episodes for the next 2 weeks. I'm really losing my train of thought here. Got any sort of? Do we have any highlights from this year personally, or as people who kind of vaguely watch the news that we want to end the year in? This is I'm springing this surprise on you guys. What was the biggest news story of the year? Can we even think of it?
Probably the
volcanic eruptions 24/7.
Yes, maybe, yeah, but it's like really not interesting.
No, I mean, we've got.
But it was a terrible year. I mean, we had like a lot of like killings and like.
It is the worst. It's the most murderous year in Iceland's history. We've had. I mean, I can't remember the exact number, but it's hundreds of percentages above the average.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
like
sort of where I
kids.
wanted to segue with
like
3
the
kids, like a terrible kids stabbing kids.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
It's been a very bad year in terms of that. And
But this is sort of the landscape that the police tasing comes into, which sort of makes it, a complex public issue. Because I feel like, if someone had been tased, I mean, a few years ago, someone was shot a few years ago, and people were quite shocked about it. Like, it was not usual in Iceland, but it'll be curious to see how people will react to this, because I think there is definitely like more fear and like statistics that show that there is, more violence to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should mention just for context, that our rate of violence and murder is very low on an international scale, but we don't really care about that. We care about our own statistic when it comes to that.
Yeah.
If we always thought that way, I mean, our numbers would always look good, but we have to compare them to our own past, and it doesn't look good, and it's worrying, and it doesn't really seem to have a simple solution or a simple reason. It seems to be a complex social issue that is somehow getting a little worse every year, and whatever it is or whatever elements those are, that's just in general quite worrying, and rightfully matches well into that discussion about police and weapons.
Yeah.
That which seems, in my opinion, would rather sort of add to the problem than subtract from the problem.
Yeah,
where
it's an arms race, isn't it? Like cops will carry tasers, and then kids will start carrying.
Well, yeah,
else.
and it points to a problem where you somehow you manage to pit the police force against the population, which shouldn't happen, but happens frequently.
All the time.
All the time.
Is the inevitable result, seemingly, of mass social change.
So, any positive things to end the thing on?
One of my highlights for the year is that we have a new president. I thought that was kind of interesting. So in Iceland you can run for president as many times as you like, and the sitting president decided not to run, which I think is kind of interesting.
That was very cool, and we got the second female president in Iceland's history.
Yeah,
first one elected back in 1980.
And then a few months later, all three heads of the incoming ruling coalition are also women. So that's kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah,
when you compare it with like America, where they struggle to elect even one woman.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. And I guess we completely forgot about talking about that coalition forming. It's we maybe should have, but to be short, there's nothing to talk about. They've been keeping their cards fairly close to
their ample chests.
I'm
sorry, I had to say it.
Sindri.
No, you didn't.
Bad boy.
No, but before the end of the year, we'll probably
see a new coalition.
Yeah, led by 3 women.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a president that's a woman, a prime minister that's a woman, our bishop of the national church is a woman, our head of the police force who tase people, she's a woman.
Yeah, yeah.
Both in the höfuðborgarsvæði, the capital area,
and the rest of the country.
And,
this is girl boss country, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, will it change anything? That's going to be an interesting thing.
Maybe more time for us men to do podcasts and stuff.
Yeah. Definitely do more definitely, that's what we need. More dudes.
More middle-aged white dudes doing podcasts.
Yeah, that's what the world really needs. On that positive note,
yes.
I think we should end this for now.
See
you or hear you next. No, I wasn't right. Tune in next year.
Yes.
Thanks for everything. Goodbye.
Thank you.